Welcome to What's in the Box and my official return to Neca. Yes, this is a 1 month haul. And you might ask, when will it ever end? Well, to tell you the truth, I don't know. It just keeps going. But more on why I've come back and what to expect from this channel coming up. Welcome to the channel. As you can see, I'm surrounded by my 1 month haul of Neca action figures. Give me just 1 second to clear out this mess. Let's put a few of these aside. Let's remove this stand. We'll talk about that eventually. Let's get these Toonie Terrors out of the way. They are awesome, but we need a little room here. We need a little room. Whoa, whoa. Yeah, so that is my 1 month haul. To be honest, I haven't even counted how many figures. The reason I've come back to Neca after all these years is they've just gotten too cool. Everything they're coming out with, everything that I didn't really pay that much attention to over the last couple years, I've kind of regretted it. My story goes that I started off collecting Neca early 2000s, McFarlane before that in the 90s. At the time, there was just nothing on the shelf like it. Like, I remember being a kid going through the toy section, and I loved pretty much everything that they put out. I grew up on He-Man, I grew up on Thundercats, Transformers, G.I. Joe. And then sometime in the mid to late 90s, I was following Image Comics and Spawn in particular, and McFarlane said, I'm going to make toys. They hit Walmart shelves, and they were just incredible. There hadn't been paint apps like that before. Nothing had come close to it. So I started snatching them up. Collected those for many years, collected Todd stuff all the way into Movie Maniacs, until Todd decided, I'm done. There's nothing left for me to do. Well, that was a little short-sighted on Todd's side, and when Randy moved over to Neca from McFarlane, if I remember that correctly, I followed him. You know, he was kind of behind some of McFarlane's stuff, and they started producing stuff for Neca, and it was just as incredible as McFarlane. Now, I collected so many Neca figures back in the day. I can't even begin to tell you how many I ended up with. I had pretty much had all the Predator line at the time. Man, this was probably 6-7 years ago. So I probably had 20 or 30 Predator figures, and that was just Predator. I had a bunch of video game figures, various other things. And I had kind of started moving away from the company and from the line, partly because I had discovered 6-scale figures, Hot Toys in particular. And I thought, man, though, that's like seeing McFarlane for the first time on a toy shelf. That's what I want. And so I went after Hot Toys and companies like that made 6 scale. And it was great to start. Like, if you want something that is virtually identical to the actor or the character on screen, Hot Toys is the way to go. But Hot Toys started off at about $200 a pop. Now, that was steep then. I'm talking 5 years ago. And increasingly, it seemed like every year the prices went up $10, $20. Before long it was $225 for a figure, then $250, then $275, and now it's somewhere between $275 and $300. And if you want an Iron Man figure, well, get ready to throw down $400 to $500. And at some point in there this last year, I said, is it more important to have a single action figure for $400 or $500 or to eat? Well, let me tell you, you're going to want to eat. And so it just become like, I'm not bothering with these anymore. This is ridiculous. They've gotten too costly. And I sold the majority of them. I kept maybe 10 at most. And from there, I started looking back on what I had collected before. I didn't really want to delve into the 80s toys. I still wanted something with a great deal of detail, nice paint apps. And so I started looking at Neca again. And what I was seeing was, you know, a leap ahead of what they were doing when I left the company's toy line years ago. And I kind of dabbled with them. I looked at a few, didn't really buy any. I thought, well, I don't know, maybe, yeah. And then just out of nowhere a few months ago, Neca just started knocking it out of the park. Figure announcement after figure announcement after figure announcement. All very cool. All very much things I grew up on. Old horror movies, Ninja Turtles, all that stuff. And so I was really tempted by the Turtles line, and I had actually bought, when they first came out, the 18-inch figures for the Turtles. Sold those off as well. It was a weird time for me as a collector, and so now I'm back. I'm back to NECA, and I'm back to enjoying the hobby, because honestly, dropping several $100s on a single figure never really set well with me. I actually stretched myself beyond my means. Grew a pretty big tab on a PayPal credit buying these $300 or $400 a piece figures, and it was not fun anymore. And I thought, well, these are $25, $30 a piece, even cheaper if you can find them out in the wild, on eBay sometimes, or in Facebook groups. And so I think at the start of last month, I just started picking them up left and right. And what you're seeing here, all these figures, even including the Toonie Terrors and all of that, that's pretty much what I would spend on a single Hot Toy. Hot Toys, give me a break. It's ridiculous. NECA, they got it going on. And now they've picked up, what? The John Carpenter The Thing license, American Werewolf in London, Universal Monsters. I'm sorry, the minute you said Universal Monsters, you've got me mind, heart, body, and soul. Forget about it. I've got all that stuff on pre-order. All of it. The Nightmare Dogs or Wolves from American Werewolf in London. Bought all of them. It's like, you've got me. And the fact that these are economical in price, a smaller scale figure, easily to display multiples on one shelf, the paint apps looking great nowadays. I mean, to be honest, back in the day when I was collecting the Predator stuff and the various other figures at the time, I would sit there going through peg after peg just to find that perfect paint job. Now that was part of the hunt, but it was also kind of frustrating. Like, you could go through 5 figures and only find one that essentially had perfect paint. Well, that's changed a lot. NECA has changed a lot about that. And I remember many years ago they asked, would you rather have a good price tag or a little higher price tag for a better figure? well, of course, everyone wants a better figure, and they've done it now. And so I'm totally sold on Neca again, and plan on buying every line that they put out. I mean, I even bought Goliath from Gargoyles. They keep putting them out, and I'm going to keep buying them. And I can say I probably won't buy every single one. I will buy the majority of NECA figures and start displaying them. You know, I think it's a great line. They haven't paid me to say this or any stupid thing like that, of course. But yeah, I'm totally back in, and I will probably make this channel about NECA figures mainly. I don't really see myself collecting too many other things, but yeah, I will actually go through and maybe start reviewing each one of these. I know 1,000 people have probably reviewed them at this point. You don't know anything about me, but I am an artist, a sculptor, and a painter, and so I think I can give slightly unique insight into that and into each figure review. So hopefully you'll stick around. Please like and subscribe, all that jazz. But yeah, hopefully I can entertain you and do a few reviews and talk nostalgia about some of these movies, you know. Freddy, Jason, Trick or Treat, Ninja Turtles, Back to the Future. I was there for it all in some regard, even if I was pretty young. But yeah, I hope you enjoy everything, and I'll catch you next time.